Hello, my name's Simon Gudgeon. I'm a sculptor. I'm here at the National Museum of Wildlife Art in Wyoming for the unveiling of my sculpture, Isis, in the new sculpture trail. I think from the point of view of an artist, we always want to make a statement, so actually the best way of doing that is making something monumental. For us it's more satisfying than the smaller pieces. It's also seeing a piece. When you see it outdoors, it has a presence which an indoor piece never has. Another aspect I think of outdoor sculpture is that it's a never-changing event. It's not a static piece. Indoors, it has the same lighting on it. It stays roughly the same. Once you get it outdoors, the seasons, the time of day, the changing weather, the changing light, the sculpture becomes a never-changing event. And so it never looks the same. And you see it from so many different aspects. Isis, you see as you drive into the car park, you see it as you drive out of Jackson, you see it as you drive back into Jackson from the airport. It's going to be seen from so many different angles, and it keeps changing as you see it from the different angles. And I think that's one of the hugely satisfying things about it. It's also, it becomes part of the landscape. The landscape, I think, is for a monumental piece, is very important. And Isis in the National Museum of Wildlife Art Sculpture Trail, overlooking the elk refuge with the mountains behind, is going to look very different from Isis in Hyde Park in London. Same sculpture, but it'll have a very different feel about it.
Here in Wyoming at the National Museum of Wildlife Art of the United States, we're very proud to have Simon Gudgeon's Isis as part of our new sculpture trail. It's a magnificent example of international cooperation, and it will give pleasure to sculpture seekers for many years to come.
Isis in the new sculpture trail is 10 foot tall. It weighs just over half a ton. It was cast in a foundry in the UK, and it was sand cast in 2 parts, then fitted together, welded, and then patinated, and then put into a huge crate and shipped over here. Artistically, it was the start of a new direction for me. I was inspired by, I was in Australia in 2001, I was watching ibis, and they were preening themselves with the curved beak around the body, and I saw that vision, I just had that, it locked into my mind, and I thought, that's a sculpture. But I didn't want to do a representational sculpture. I wanted to change it. I wanted to abstract it. I wanted to put more human emotion into it. And by abstracting, you can do that. There's also quite a lot of elements of the human form in the sculpture. The piece looks like a bird, but it doesn't really look like a bird you'd recognize. People can interpret it. They can actually put their own feelings into it. It's not a representation of a bird, but to me, it's something that conveys emotion, and that's what I wanted to achieve.
This iconic work by Simon Gudgeon makes a perfect anchor for the northern end of our new sculpture trail. It really draws your eye down as you're coming out of the porte cochere or walking down the trail. It gives you a wonderful goal to achieve as you walk towards the end of the trail. It's also a beautiful counterpoint to Sandy Scott's presidential eagle, which we placed at the southern end of the trail as the other anchor piece.
Having a piece that is recognized by an institution such as the National Museum of Wildlife Art, for me, is an honor and a privilege. To be amongst some of the great, if not all the great, wildlife artists in the world, past, present and future, is an incredible thing for me to have.